Hey there guys, James Wilson here. It's Monday again, which means I'll be continuing with my Doctor Who character reviews here on Who Addicts Reviews. Now there's something about a rant, isn't there, that just feels good for the soul. It just feels good to blurt out all of your hatred for any Doctor Who character that you may dislike. But today that is exactly what I'm going to do. Just sit back and enjoy as I discuss / rant about the character portrayed by Orla Brady in the episode The Time of the Doctor. Yes, it is Tasha Lem. Enjoy. Smell that, guys? No, that is not a Slovene farting. That is the smell of a rant. And today that is what I'm going to do. Because you guys know how much I love a rant. And today is no better. Because today I'm going to be reviewing the character of Tasha Lem. Her first appearance, and I think in my own personal opinion, her only appearance was in the most recent episode of Doctor Who, which was The Time of the Doctor. And, well, who knows, she may appear once again in the audiobooks because, you know, she did know the Doctor before he was the 11th Doctor, as we knew from the opening scenes, but I felt like we should have met her previously. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't really like those sort of characters where they just introduce a character all willy-nilly and we're just expected to love them, because I know the Doctor's had a long life, and chances are we've not seen the entire of his life, and I think that the show would have to run for would have had to have run for a lot longer than 50 years for us to know his entire life. Like, I think almost 100 years just to see his entire biography. But I think that with this character being such a pivotal part of the 11th Doctor's life, and call me crazy, but I think if a character is introduced into an episode that puts her in as such a important character, then she should be important, or at least the actress should be good enough for us to like her. But in my opinion, Orla Brady's performance as Tasha Lem came across as nothing more than a recycled River song. I am using Matthew's exact words, recycled River song. Obviously, I know that if you live in Britain, we've been given these blue bins now. So basically, River song has been plopped into those bins, and she's came back out again as fucking Tasha Lem. That is exactly what has happened in this episode, because Tasha Lem, she has got an entire army at the mere click of her fingers. She could topple governments, destroy planets if she wanted to, but no, that isn't what happened. This is what she should be, but she isn't. I mean, her first word in this episode, well, technically not her first word, because she was actually the first voice we actually ever heard in The Time of the Doctor. She was the monologue at the beginning. But the first time we ever heard her speak, you know, with her face and everything, was "Hey babes." Hey babes. Right from that moment, I knew that my expectations of this character were going down. I mean, I remember watching it on Christmas Day, happy as ever. Obviously, not happy enough because the 11th Doctor was about to leave before the end credits rolled. But the 11th Doctor and Jenna Coleman walked up there, and of course I had a smile on my face because Jenna Coleman was technically naked, but they walked up this altar and past a load of army lot, and I was like, oh my god, that's them from the Papal Mainframe. Oh my god, she's the woman who started all of this. Hey babes. Face palm. I'll actually hurt, but it was honestly the most unexpected and most terrible character choice. I don't know whose character development choice that could have been, but it was obviously Moffat. I mean, how am I even questioning that? Because I'm not going to turn this into a Moffat rant, because almost every video I do turns into that. But all I will say is that Moffat basically thought, right, well, River, she already had a great ending in The Name of the Doctor and a fantastic snog with him. But tell you what we'll do, we'll bring back a character that's solely for the purpose to flirt with the Doctor, because the Doctor needs someone to flirt with, or vice versa, So we'll bring in a character that is incredibly important to the plot's development, and we'll just sit and hope that the audience loves her. That isn't how it works, Moffat. In fact, I would say this to the entire of Doctor Who writing staff, because it happened in Series 7, because the entire of Series 7 fell flat with unimportant character development, and it just fell incredibly flat with the entire of Series 7, and this is what this character of Tasha Lem fell victim to, because, I mean, Matthew had mentioned to me a couple of weeks ago, and this point had sort of stuck in my mind, and when I was obviously moaning about, Tasha Lem and, Matt's, ending not being across a full series, he did say that, well, maybe Moffat I did have plans for this storyline to reach across an entire series, but Matt had came up to him and said, "I want to leave this Christmas," and Moffat kind of had to rush it, and to that extent, I suppose Matthew had a point, but Moffat should know these things. He should be aware that Matt might want to leave at any given moment. What if, I don't know, Matt wanted to leave in Series 6? What if he only wanted to do 2 years? Then what would have Moffat done? He would have basically screwed up. He would have had to rush the entire of Series 6. He should prepare for these things. I mean, obviously, a long stretching story arc is great and all, but that's just it. The story arc of the whole crack in the wall, Silence Will Fall thing, that rhymed. But that whole storyline, it seemed to me like it was sort of stretched out, but it shouldn't have been, because I don't think I don't think story arc stretching out an entire Doctor's era, I don't think that works, because what if the Doctor wants to leave early, and then the entire idea that the head writer might have had in their head would be just like, oh, right, he wants to leave, can't exactly make him stay, so yeah, I've got to rush the entire story arc now, right? Okay, it just doesn't work in my opinion. But anyway, off of the subject of Stephen Moffat there, otherwise I'll never stop. Might as well retitle the video that otherwise. But no, I think that Moffat just decided to create a flirt for the sake of it, and she's not the authority figure that she should have been. She should have been telling the Doctor off. She should have been simply laying down the strategies and what the Doctor should do. But no, what did she do? She ended up flirting with the fucking guy. I mean, fair enough. She's a busy woman. I mean, she's in charge of a religion. She's got a whole army to look after. She's got the Silence to deal with. She's got the Kavarian chapter that's broken away. She's got a whole lot going on. So she needs to get laid every now and again, but not with the fucking hero of the episode. I mean, come on, that line, and I think Matthew will agree in throwing up at this point. She says, "That bed looks like an altar," and then that was the first nail. And then she goes and even every single movement that they do, literally just the blocking of that scene, just her mere mannerisms that she'd show in that scene, even then that just made me want to throw up. So that was the second nail, right, in my side. And she would just lean into the Doctor's face like she was honestly she was just trying to seduce him or something, and he was just going so close to her, and I was just like, Doctor, just fucking kiss her, for God's sake. If you're gonna kiss her, do it now so that I can get a bucket for next time it frickin' happens. So then what happened? She was explaining to him that this message was making everyone scared. So she just said, so she just leaned into the Doctor, nice and slow, like a woman from a porno movie. And I was just tempted to play the bounce, wow, music, and that would have been perfect for that scene. She just says, "Nobody wants to go first," and then the Doctor says, "I do," and then she says, "I was counting on it." Oh my god, I think I almost did have a bit of vomit there. But this woman, although she was meant to be the authority figure, was simply and only just the flirt of the entire episode. There was no River Song, so they just went with Tasha Lem, you know. And another thing is that another thing that just really, really freaking annoys me about this entire character is that I think what would have worked better is that the Doctor meet her for the very first time in the time of the Doctor. Either that, or she gets introduced in another episode. The perfect episode where she could be introduced to us would be A Good Man Goes to War. Because fair enough, the Doctor knowing her before we actually meet her, then that's fine. I mean, the Doctor's led a long and the Doctor's led an incredibly long life. So the Doctor meeting people before they are seen on screen, that's perfectly fine. He knew Winston Churchill before we even got to see him on screen, so that's perfectly fine. So, but what we should have done is that with a character that's so important to the development of the 11th Doctor, and basically she started the whole thing. She's the one who proclaimed silence will fall. The Doctor will certainly not speak his name. This will not happen, and I will do everything in my power to keep the peace, and the Doctor will not speak his name. She proclaimed that and started all this shit off. She basically started the race that the Doctor was to end in that very episode. So, and apparently that's what Moffat had planned all along. Apparently the entire plan was that the 11th Doctor was fighting a war that he wouldn't even know the full extent of until his final years. That's perfectly fine. That's quite a clever storyline, I'll admit. But introducing a character that you make flirtatious and incredibly vulgar at the same time, it just puts me off the character, and it makes her incredibly unlikable entirely. And her death was completely and totally, emotionless for me. The Doctor was just like, no, Tash, fight it. And then I'm just like, no, Tash, don't fight it. Let the Dalek take over. In fact, just fucking die anyway. Just drop dead. That's what I would have loved the character to do. And honestly, like I said, the perfect episode for her to return would be A Good Man Goes to War, because if the Doctor were to ask anyone to join his army to fight at Demon's Run, don't you think it would be the woman who's actually their boss, the woman who's actually in charge of the entire thing? If the Doctor is close friends, in fact, if the Doctor has shagged the very woman that is in charge of this entire thing, then don't you think he would have called her up to say, guess what, your guys are being a bit naughty, can you come down and slap the wrists for me? That entire part of that episode could have been averted. Strax could have been alive in A Good Man Goes to War, and that entire episode could have been averted. But no, he decided to go with a Sontaran, a Silurian, a human, and his two best friends, and in the process lost their best friend's baby. So yeah, I think really that entire thing could have been averted if he just called up Tasha Lem and said, could you do me a favour, could you come down and sort this entire thing out? That could have averted everything. Or at the very least, she could have fought with him along with everyone else, because that would have been even better. Introduce Tasha Lem in A Good Man Goes to War, because then it would actually be like in the time of the Doctor, hey, look, there's Tasha Lem. Yeah, and then we'd actually be upset when she died, and she would have actually been an important part to the Doctor's life. But no, she was literally thrown in there at the very last minute, and really the episode was just dragged down a hell of a lot with this character, and I think it would have been terribly improved if the character was introduced in A Good Man Goes to War. It's the perfect episode for her to be introduced. Plus, it's her jurisdiction. It's that is where she belongs. Demon's Run. That's where her army are causing trouble, ruining the Doctor's life. So I would have thought that if the Doctor is close friends with their boss, then she would have sorted it out. It's like a teacher. If you're close friends with your teacher, and your teacher's children are bullying you, then that teacher would have freaking sorted it out. That's exactly what it seems like to me, and I just feel like it could have been incredibly averted. And Really, my conclusion to Tasha Lem in one simple sentence is that this character is vulgar, unlikable, flirtatious, and a recycled river song. That is all I have to say about Tasha Lem. My final scoring of her is 2 out of 10. Let's answer some comments, shall we?
Now I'm going to be answering a few comments from last week's character review, which was of Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart. Believe me, that's a bit of a mouthful. My first comment is from Owen Salmons, good friend of ours, who says, "Rest in peace, Nicholas Courtney. The legends of who sadly die. Brigadier is just brilliant. He was one of the Doctor's best friends as well. We definitely need a best friend character for the Doctor again." We certainly do. Hopefully we will have that in Danny Pink, who knows. But nothing can ever amount to the brilliance of Brigadier. Like I said in the video, if I were to ever compare him to any other modern character, it would definitely be Captain Jack, just solely on the fact that they were both very good friends of the Doctor, and they would defend him to the end. And plus, they looked pretty damn awesome with a gun. But I think that nothing will ever compare really to Brigadier, because he was an absolute legend of Doctor Who, and he is incredibly missed. A lot like Sarah Jane Smith, and a lot like some other amazing Doctor Who characters who are no longer with us. Our next comment is from a chap called Who Addicts Reviews. Sounds pretty good. He said, "You forgot to answer comments!"
Well, you kind of did.
What?
Yes, Jamie. I am your conscience, and you forgot to answer comments.
But I'm answering...
You complete idiot.
But I'm answering them this week.
Never forget to answer comments again, otherwise John Hurt will come round your house
No.
and he will destroy your computer.
No!
Even though your computer's kind of shit already, but he will destroy it even more.
Why do you have the voice of Matthew?
Because I've been with you for 12 years as a best friend, and I will always be there to annoy the living shit out of you. Ah, I see.
Next comment. My third comment is from Chris Jamieson, who said, "I love the Brigadier, but as much as I love him with the Third Doctor, I love the Brigadier in Patrick Troughton's The Invasion." Well, you've got a point there. I mean, sadly we've never seen the Brigadier come face to face with a modern Doctor, and that would be brilliant, I think, because to see him come face to face with Chris or David or Matt would have been brilliant, really. If it wasn't for his rather misused death in The Wedding of River Song, I think he could have gotten the chance to have a real good goodbye. So my fourth and final comment is from Busted, who says, "I know it's completely off topic, but I have made a new channel and I can't find a voice recorder that goes on YouTube. I have an editor, but it says no audio format. What editor do you use and how much does it cost? Please answer. PS, this is Doctor Who Tube." Okay, well, it seems that Doctor Who Tube has created a new channel. But yeah, well, we don't really use an editor. We use, my God, do I have any guts in me to actually say what we use? A great magician never reveals the secret. No, we use Movie Maker. Yeah, I know how pathetic that actually sounds. But yeah, we just use Movie Maker, which is just part of Windows Essentials. It's just part of, yeah, we don't have to pay for it. It's just there as common programs that are there when you first get Windows. So we just use Movie Maker. So if you have Windows software, then that should have just simply came with the computer. But if not, then a majority of the software that you have besides Windows, that chances are you'll need to pay for it. Sorry, I can't be of any more help, but that's all we really use. So in case you haven't realised, me and Matthew aren't exactly the most flashy Doctor Who YouTube channel out there, but you know, hopefully your new channel will thrive. Well guys, that's it for this week's episode of James Watson Presents here on Who Addicts Reviews. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already for some great videos over the next couple of days. Also, if any of you are at all present socially on Facebook, please like our Facebook page. It's just simply called Who Addicts Reviews. There you can keep up to date on anything and everything that happens here on the channel. Also, please put in the comment section below what you guys think about Tasha Lem, whether you love her, whether you hate her, and just rant about her in the comment section below if you like. I will answer them in next week's video. I promise I will answer them in next week's video. Again, apologies for not answering comments last week. I made up for it this week though, didn't I? But anyway, I'll see you guys on Wednesday for the continuation of me and Matthew's 12 Doctors Countdown. See you then.